What I have here is a bunch of hairpins that are not finished yet. And I get them from these small rips, these tiny cuts, and that's somewhat useless. Most people would probably discard these. The methodology is to think of or find a pattern, draw an outline, cut on the bandsaw, or if you don't have a bandsaw, it would take quite a long time. But with a drill and a rotary tool, you could just whittle away at it and get what you need. It would be a lot of extra time. The bandsaw really speeds things up, and that's what I do. But you can get a small bandsaw. It's extremely useful. It's small enough to fit into even a small car. Anyway, that's what I have here. This is my most serious one yet. Well, I guess my second most serious one. I'll show you in a bit the cat hairpin, which is that will remain my favorite of all time. This will be, I can't really say Sandhill cranes, but I think that's my inspiration. We have a lot of them here in Florida. I love the bird. They do really interesting dances. Hopefully I'll get that on film at some point. But this will be two Sandhill cranes facing each other. The interior will form a heart shape, and the wings will kind of come up to the side. You will not be able to see that with this yet, but that will be finished eventually. Beginning with the Sandhill crane. That is not 1/8. So that's the quick progress. You can definitely get the idea now, whereas before it was very difficult to see what was going on. Now, what you'll find is, say I'm using that, and I forgot the name of that bit. It's very similar to a drill bit, but it's made for cutting, and they are extraordinarily helpful. But what you'll find if you have a piece of wood, and say you're working from this side, and you're going in there and you're trying to take off very small amounts, you may find that the grain is not cooperating, and if you flip the piece around, it can magically begin to cooperate again. So there's a lot of flipping from side to side, and if you're new to this, or even if you've been doing it, you'll know that you really have to take your time. In small amounts, here and there. You kind of do a once over and get it nice and ugly, and then you come back and pretty it up as you go. Now I say this, and I'm inclined to screw a lot of things up, but patience is definitely important here. There's no point in spending hours, which I've done more than a few times, and in the finishing phase, often in sanding, I'll break it, because I'm just manhandling it and being a moron. I have sticks for that if you're interested, anti-moron sticks. But that's it, so we'll keep going and see how this turns out. Well, it is definitely time to change the bit. These can get you a long way, but they're very aggressive. And I don't know if this is Wenge or not that I'm using, but it's chipping quite a bit more than I'm used to. Working mostly with Cocobolo, I don't get a lot of chipping. But this one is definitely chipping, and a lot of my burrs are carbide, just regular carbide burrs. S-Worker is the brand that I have been using. Very pleased with them. That's an example. They have different shapes. But for the fine bits, the stuff that really helps me accomplish what I'm after are the cut-saw bits. This is a carbide cut-saw rasp, and it's really high quality, and I think I'm going to switch to it. But it's coming along slowly but surely. I'm going to guess right now that I probably bungled this one. I have another. It's far from finished. But at least I'll learn from this, and the next one might come out the way I want it to. So we'll keep working on this and see what happens. I'm definitely not satisfied with the pin part. This will clean up quite a bit, but it needs to be wider in the hip area. So, I don't know if that's a successful rescue attempt, but the pins were looking awful, and now they're a bit more refined, and now back to the serious part. Well, I had to get me hat, because there's damn terrible yellow flies. They bite hard, and they're super aggressive. They'll stalk you for a mile, and one's been checking me out, but I haven't got to the wings yet. I think you can see the heads are coming out okay. It's bungled. I didn't leave enough material in the hip area, and I'm stubborn, so I'm going to go through this whole thing, and it might end up being a long time before I get to the other piece and do it right. So hopefully I can remember what I learn here. Anyway, we'll keep at it. All right, so I definitely bungled it, but I don't think it's going to be a complete waste. I screwed up the eyes. I think it will still be okay, but it just ain't going to have the elegance when it's finished if it was done correctly and patiently. That's the key, patience. When you're being attacked by flies and you're just a natural asshole, it's hard to be patient. Well, let's clean this up and get it sanded a bit. That'll draw out the imperfections even more, and let's see if this turns into trash or something useful. Well, here it is, sanded fine. Now I'm going to put the special sauce on it. I consider this a failure, but it's not completely worthless. Well, I'm disappointed. It's similar to many of the things I do. It has potential, but it's kind of crap. But it has a good concept, and I think you give this project to Bobby Duke, And man, I think it would really be beautiful. It's a nice concept. If you look here at these holes, they weren't meant to be round. They were supposed to be, yeah, more flowy, I guess. And it's a mixture of laziness and ineptitude. But it is dual-sided, so it's not some simpleton 2D thing. That was distracting, having to do both sides. In case beauty is truly in the eye of the beholder and you have no idea what you're looking at, this is a hairpin, and they are far from resembling Sandhill cranes, but I guess that was the inspiration. And there makes a little heart thing in the center. Very sweet, right? Well, there's that. But my favorite one that came out really well was inspired by my little fur brother. And I'm very happy with this. And that's more what I go for. It's not overly complex, but it has a nice flow to it. It is also two-sided. And once again, in the possible case that beauty is very much in the eye of the beholder, you have no idea what you're looking at. This is a cat hairpin. And this is Cocobolo. That, I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's definitely not Cocobolo because it doesn't have the scent. It may be Wenge. It was way prettier as just a plain piece of unmolested wood. Probably should have just left it as a normal piece of wood. But what this is, for me, it's a lesson in my limitations. I know what not to mess with, and I have a good idea of what I can mess with. And some of you are probably looking at this thing, why would he be pleased with that? I really am. I think this is the coolest thing I've done. Well, maybe. Of course, my little brother is the most special thing in the world to me, so that it has that meaning. There's Mr. Cat Hairpin, and here is, I don't know, a failure. All right. Adios. These are women, and I think it was the first hairpin I did. I realized, wow, that really just forms a pair of legs and an ass. And this one will be, that's the head, and that's the hair coming back, and that's the hips. And very difficult to envision in the condition it's in now. Most of these are Cocobolo. I believe the Sandhill crane is Wenge, which is just an awesome wood. It is one of the finest woods in the world, I think. Wenge, I don't know how to pronounce it. This is a bit more obvious, and this will be just kind of an egret or a stork sort of hairpin. It's pretty small. I don't know if it will work. I don't have much hair to practice with, but I do test them out on people who do have hair. This is, these both are templates for the cat, and you can kind of see that. Both of these are Cocobolo, very rough and unfinished. This is just abstract, nothing particular, but I'll probably make a hairpin out of this eventually. And this is Bacote, which is a hell of an interesting wood. I really love this stuff. I've made a couple of rice paddles out of it that turned out very well. This is abstract, but will also be a hairpin. I don't see anything there yet. This is ugly, and I think I might discard this, but kind of a crow's skull. Here is another abstract, just a shape, but also a hairpin. This may turn into a letter opener. It wasn't a very substantial piece of wood. This, I was thinking, this is longer than I'll leave it, but as I've mentioned, I often leave more material than I need. I'm going to try to make this a horsehead hairpin. And that is it for the unfinished projects. Again, just a thin slice of wood, whatever good wood you can find, and you should be able to get scraps for close to nothing. You just pay shipping on it, and someone will probably send them for free. Most people don't use these, but the results can be beautiful, and you will have a chance to judge that for yourself when I'm finished. This might end up being a letter opener. Not sure. Now, what these are resting on is a cut of plantation teak. If this was not plantation teak, I would have left it alone and saved it for a special product. If anyone has ever seen high quality old growth teak, it's an incredible wood. It's very dense. A really, really nice wood. I have a piece. It's in the shape of a dowel, and I've been saving that for something special. Very rare piece of super dense teak. This is mid to low grade teak. It's kind of papery. It still finishes very nicely, but it is much softer than high grade teak. So that will be a cutting board, I think. We'll see how well it works. It really does finish pretty nicely. So we may see that, or I may continue to procrastinate on that. But I'm going to get to work here right now with some of these hairpins, and they tend to take quite a long time. Ooh, hiding in here. Yeah, with the really, really tiny scraps that almost no one would ever want. There's lots of neat stuff that can be made. There's no high value in wooden jewelry or pendants, but the personal sentimental value is there. This will probably turn into an ichthys, which is it's a symbol that it kind of means something to me, even though I don't know what it means. It's obviously associated with Jesus. I know that it became a very important symbol to Philip K. Dick, one of my favorite fiction authors. I don't remember the story or the details, but at some point that became an important symbol to him. So it has having some commonalities that I won't explain with Mr. Dick. I guess it's just become something that means something to me. So we'll see how that comes out. All right, enough bloviating. Yay. Who's that? There's a monster in the bushes. It's a monster.